Welcome everybody to another episode of a Barely Broke podcast. But no, today it's going to be an extended version of Inside the Pocket, Inside the Extended Pocket. Got your host today, Susana OMG, Screwface. And over here we got to my left, DIV, the one
Hey,
and only, with his two goons in the back.
waiting to spaz. These niggas are right here
Waiting to
waiting to
spaz on
spaz.
y'all.
Waiting.
Or, Travis Scott and the tragedy that happened at the Astro World Festival. Uh, you know, 8 people have passed and about 14 or so injured. The youngest of them all was reportedly 9 years old.
Yep.
And
Couple teenagers too.
and a couple teenagers, like what, 16, 14-year olds,
Yeah, around there.
Yeah, that's kind of wild to think about. You go to a concert to have a good time, not for something like that to happen. You might send your kids away to a concert to have a good time, not have something like that happen. So it's kind of, like I said, a tragedy. Condolences to the family of those who have passed, and and a speedy recovery, and hopefully for those who are injured. And let's dive into it a bit. And I'm gonna hand it over to you
Alright.
so you can tell us about this situation a little bit more.
So you hit the main points. I'll just go over, the controversies swirling around, the different ideas out there, and what people are saying and what people are feeling about the situation. So first off, one of the stories that's out there, I'm gonna just get this one out of the way. People, if you don't know, it was basically a crowd. It was like a crowd, almost a riot going on. It's the police, or not just the police, but the security lost control of the crowd, and the crowd went and rushed the main stage, causing a sea of people to push and thrash and smash against each other. So I could only imagine a huge show like Astro World. And you gotta remember that Travis Scott is from Houston, and that show took place in Houston, right?
So there's gonna be a lot more people.
Exactly. He's a local celebrity. Even though he's a worldwide celebrity, his celebrity is that much more intensified in his home city. So the amount of people there is, I can only imagine. I can't remember the numbers that they're saying, but I'm pretty sure it is close to 50,000 probably, or even more. I'm not even sure what the numbers are, but it's something astronomical.
That's a lot of people.
Yeah. So enough people to do a lot of damage. So the thrashing, the bashing, the bodies hitting into each other. Mind you, it's not just adults here. Travis Scott appeals to younger people, younger kids, like we're just saying. There was like teenagers there was kids there. So it's not just adults, but it's kids there. And with all this happening, some people are gonna get knocked around, and sadly, these young people are gonna get trampled. People are getting trampled, stepped on, suffocated. And once you get suffocated, you go in cardiac arrest, you die. I don't care. You could be the healthiest man alive. You cannot survive a wave of people smashing into you. You can't. Lord knows what's going to happen to you once you hit the ground. You might as well just say your prayers and hope for the best. Because if you think you can get up off the ground with like 6 people standing on top of you, and those 6 people are getting knocked down on top of you, and they're getting people knocked on top of them. So good luck surviving that, especially if you're a young kid. After that being said, people are trying to look for blame. Who's to blame? Who's to blame? Who's to blame? There's stories coming out about different things that's going on, conspiracies that's going on. I'm gonna ask you. We talked about it a little bit before we got on the show. You know that people usually try to blame somebody else and make up stories, right? You have an idea of any stories people may make up or anything like that?
The only one I've really heard so far was the demonic Satanism one.
Yeah.
That kind of conspiracy theory. I mean, I won't call it conspiracy theory, but it's just that story. Yeah.
That's all it is, conspiracy. Because I also know people in Illuminati hoods running around and all that shit.
Exactly. It's like it's kind of hard to prove that was the whole gist of why they had that, and why this whole incident happened. Yeah, so I mean, somebody showed me a video of of what was going on in that moment where he was on the elevated platform, doing his humming thing, but it's just like, and I guess they kind of
Oh,
took the whole
demonic. It's
humming,
demonic.
yeah, as being demonic, and it's just like it's a reach for me just because I've heard Travis Scott's music and that's what he does. He kind of mimicked that whole Kid Cudi.
The porn star.
I was say the porn star there. Don't steal my shit. So
Hummy.
kind of doing that whole Kid Cudi humming thing that we all know he does and we all love within his music. So I mean, I just believe he was probably. 'Cause I mean, in one of the stories, I don't know if you mentioned it yet. They were just saying how he was kind of continuing on, even though this was all going
Yeah.
on. He
Yep.
kind of was just saying he didn't know what was going on, but so he was just like continuing on with the show. So a part of his acts and a part of his music is that whole humming thing that he does. But yeah, that's why I saw in one video, and that he was doing that during, like I said, while all this was happening. So
That's
some
why.
people kind of put, yeah, so some people kind of put their whole two and two, which might have actually been three together to make their four.
Yeah, this is some
So
Satan shit. Like, oh, he's over
yeah,
here while people are dying. He's like some fucking monk shit.
like he's summoning somebody or
Yeah,
something.
he's
That's what they
summoning
kind of.
like the bodies are getting sacrificed and like he's coming
Yeah.
in. The devil is fucking rising up off the ground and all that. Yeah, yeah, like people
Yeah, like he's
fucking.
about to be the next Rothschild or something. So I mean,
I don't know if
that
you
one's
open
kind
up
of.
the gates of hell in Houston. If I was a teenager or a kid, and I was seeing all this shit go around me, I would definitely be like, "Oh yeah, this some devil shit." But
Yeah.
this some devil shit. I don't know. Like
I'm about to say somebody going to church the next day.
hell yeah. Maybe it was a mass sacrifice. Maybe motherfuckers really did get sacrificed. I don't fucking know. I don't know. I don't believe in that shit. But hey, what I do know is that people try to sidestep certain things. Like they're doing damage control. Like I think it was is it Live Nation or some shit? I can't remember who was really going in, but they went straight into damage control. Like they were sitting here saying that, oh, what happened was, oh, people were on drugs. It was just people on drugs.
Oh
Like
yeah,
you
I
shouldn't
heard that
focus
one too.
on Travis Scott. He like continuing his show when there's bodies all over the place. No, no, no. It was a controlled thing. People are on drugs. This is what people do when they go to concerts. They're on drugs and all that. And I'm just like, okay, drugs may play a part. People may be taking drugs, but what the fuck causes this giant riot? Like, why are people smashing into each other? All this shit. Like, I've been to concerts. I've been, doing. I take a little bit of something. And like, I never had the urge to do all this shit. Like, be like, oh, look over there. You're trying to make us look over here. Wow, what's going on over here? You know what I'm saying? While you doing dirt over here, you telling me to look over there. And that's how I feel when I heard people talking. Oh, there were people on drugs and all this other shit. I'm like, nah, bro.
They're trying to blame the drugs instead of, like you said, what actually caused it, which was the influx of people into that area.
Mm-hmm. The initial like wave of people crashing in, jumping the barriers and all that shit. Security, lack of security, lack of experience. They should have had crowd control going on.
I'll say not to cut you off, but speaking of security, I did see. I don't know how true these two stories are. There was nothing really to corroborate and say that these things are exactly what happened. But I did see two instances of security guards who have done Travis Scott concerts say that he kind of encourages that behavior that you talk about, the whole flooding the stage and doing stuff like that. Because he said that when he did it one time, he was trying to stop somebody, and Travis Scott was just, cursing at him and telling him, like, basically reprimanding him for doing his job that he got paid
the
for.
security guard. Yep.
Yeah, to the security guard, and it was just like cheering on the people trying to get to the stage. So, I mean, from what you're saying and this whole incident happening, it's not looking too good for him. If that is, to be true.
You have a whole reputation of inciting fucking riots and telling you people to rage and all that shit. If you stopping somebody from doing their job is gonna cause issues. And again, when we go back to, and I don't want to just dig up Travis Scott's history because people tend to do that when shit goes bad and all that shit. But it does make sense in this situation because the motherfucker. I think they said that and I don't even have to say things because I've seen viral videos of this shit happening of people jumping over barricades or people in shows jumping off of like platforms into the crowd of people crowd diving and all types of shit.
I want to bring it here, but it's an interesting thing to note is part of it on some of those fans who are kind of looking, like you said, the other videos went viral, right?
Mm-hmm.
So what if some people were looking to go viral
Oh, of
by
course.
doing those things, which then in turn caused this to happen in a sense, because it's like, yeah, he can incite it all he wants, but those people still got to do it.
Yeah.
So I mean, there's not to say that they do deserve blame or this, that, and the third. Not, and that's not to put nothing on the victims neither. It's just to put something out there that these folks were so thirsty to do something that they didn't even think about, the ramifications of if you go a little bit too far. Like, how about y'all have it a little bit more, in a sense, organized if y'all gonna do stuff like that? Because I mean, they were even bringing up stuff like, oh, it's no different than the mosh pits in like rock concerts and stuff. But I've seen mosh pits. I mean,
Mm-hmm.
I've never been in one, but I've seen videos of mosh pits,
Mm-hmm.
and it seems to be more of a controlled environment kind of thing. Like they give each other enough space to do
Absolutely.
like to mosh itself. So it's just like, so if somebody does fall, you can see that person fall,
Yeah,
so you
and
can
you
help that
entering
person
that,
up.
you like the mosh pit is in the select area, and you
Yes.
enter it. We're talking about people that have nothing to do with all the motherfuckers watching stage. I'm just sitting here chilling, watching the show, and then all of a sudden I get hit and I'm getting thrown around and thrashed around. If I know a mosh pit's over there, I'm over here. I'm not going into the mosh pit.
Yeah, exactly.
So that's
If
kind
you
of
know the
like my
mosh pit, it's
choice.
because you might want to get into the mosh pit, or you know the etiquettes of the mosh pits. 'Cause I'm sure
Exactly.
mosh pits got it has etiquette.
If I go to a concert, I'm not looking to get trampled. And I want to go back to what you're saying about those people
Mhm.
going viral, because now I'm not trying. Let's not get two things crossed up. What people are mad about Travis Scott is not exactly that he's inciting the riot; it's his conduct during the whole riot. You know what I'm saying?
Right. Yeah.
What he was
Yeah.
doing, and his lack of like empathy, basically. And I want to go back to those guys that want to go viral, and they're definitely to blame, because even when the ambulance was coming in trying to take care of people, I think there's actually a video of a dude that actually was, while all this is going on, people dying and shit. This motherfucker takes himself to go on top of the ambulance and jump on the shit and wild out on top of it while all this shit is going on. I
Yeah.
heard about
See.
this shit happening. So it's like, yo, what shit you deserve? Whatever happens to you, you deserve it. Whatever negative
Right.
energy comes your way, you deserve that type of shit, because you definitely are one of the people that's inciting this shit. You definitely pushing this shit forward. So yes, those people deserve 100% of the blame that they get, 100% of the negative energy they get, they deserve it. Whatever comes their way, it comes their way. Because you at showing your ass all the way, you got no self-control,
The clout chasing.
clout chasing. And who is to blame? Because you got the police or the security that had no crowd control. It seemed like they didn't know how to do their job. They didn't stop people. They didn't section off like how they're supposed to section off this side to this side to this side, so people aren't just smashed into each other, because there's sections for a reason. They park people
Mm.
for a reason. You know what I'm saying? And apparently they weren't
Makes it
doing
a
their
little bit
job.
easier to control. Like you said, crowd control.
Yeah, it takes different. There's different parts of crowd control. It's not only just presence; it's separating people, and you separate people for a reason, for their own safety. You know what I'm saying?
Hmm. Yeah.
So security wasn't doing their job, and that's number one. Number two is when shit was hitting the fan, the paramedics that were on scene, they did not know what the fuck to do. From what they were saying, there was nurses who were on scene and all that shit. They said the majority of people who were supposed to be paramedics there are supposed to be reacting to all these medical issues. They were untrained, unskilled, unexperienced. They were giving motherfuckers CPR who had pulse and motherfuckers who didn't have pulses. They weren't even doing shit for it. All right, so this is going on. We're in the middle of it. Travis Scott, and mind you, Travis Scott's still performing. Everything's going to shit. The world's getting turned upside down for these concert goers. There's people that literally ran up on the stage like, listen, stop this damn show. Motherfuckers are dying in the crowd. Telling this man, telling the DJ. I seen videos of them yelling at the DJ and a girl coming up stage like, there's people getting hurt. Oh my God. All this other shit. You know what I'm saying? All this other shit going on, and still they just won't listen to him. And I don't know if you've ever been on stage. You can see motherfuckers. It's not no like when you in the crowd, you looking up at this, you feel like you're in a whole different zone. When you're on stage, it's nothing. It's like all right, I'm looking at a bunch of people. You can see what's going on. You know what I'm saying? It's not like you can't see. You can see it. Like you up here,
there was no real.
I can see.
I'm about to say, unless there was like a blinding light coming from the audience that like kind of casts a shadow, that's the only way he wouldn't see. But I can't see that being the case. Like he would definitely be able to see what was going on in that crowd.
And like we said earlier, he was on the lift,
that platform thing, which also helps you see, like you said, a bird's eye view kind of thing. So you could definitely see even better what's going on in the crowd, because you could probably see the mayhem and all that stuff. People like lifting bodies and whatnot up to try to get them up off the floor, and people, he could probably see the paramedics and the ambulances in the distance, just like trying to get to people. So it's like you can't really say you don't know what's going on, because you know what's going on. Like you can see it. How can you not see it unless you try not to see it? But at least try to listen to people and just stop the show, because one person saying stop the show, okay, maybe just a heck, but multiple people telling you to stop the show is, might be something important going on.
There's a part when the crowd was yelling at him like, "Yo, stop the show" or whatever. Like there was literally a crowd yelling at him. Motherfuckers kept going to the point where Drake came out. He had Drake come out as a guest artist, like to perform. Like, my nigga, what is you doing? Like, and I'm a fan of Travis Scott's music. I'm not really a fan of him. And I've heard stories about him being an asshole, all that shit. But those are the stories. But I'm a fan of the music. But this motherfucker seems like he don't give a shit. He seems not empathetic to shit. And I think he's gonna end up paying for that. But and people are coming out with lawsuits against him and Drake. So it's like, motherfuckers getting sued. You know what I'm saying? And I guess, and whatever the promoter is, Live Nation, I think. If it's not Live Nation, maybe I'll change that.
I remember that name being floated around in the lawsuits. I want to say it's Live Nation.
Yeah. So people are getting sued. Motherfuckers are going to get sued for this shit. You know what I'm saying? So that's one element to it. So Travis Scott, and he has his girlfriend, what's her name, Kylie. She coming out trying to do damage control too, like saying that they didn't know, they feel sorry for the victims and all this shit, and they just didn't know. And I'm just like, yo, you not helping. Ain't nobody give a shit. If my loved one was hurt or killed or whatever, or died during the shit, no fucking celebrity, no out of touch celebrity is gonna say shit with their fucking PR lady typing this shit up. Like, fuck you, fuck your PR lady, fuck your career, fuck all that. Like, my family just died because you didn't know how to control your show. And you could have stopped this whole thing. You could have shut the show down, period. Shut the show down. As soon as you see one body, shut the whole fucking show down. That's it. And you already know motherfuckers is raging out in the crowd. Shut it down. But you don't want to do that. Why? I have no idea. No idea. I can't fathom.
I mean, I want to say they didn't really care. But, that would just be me kind of, making speculations on their emotions and whatnot. But either way, the actions speaking louder than the words that they're telling us now. Because it's just like, if a majority of a specific section of the crowd is telling you something, hell, if even, I haven't seen the video, but if another section of the crowd that's not even near that section is telling you to stop and, do something, you should probably stop, just to, let's be like, hey, we there's a problem in the crowd, this, that, and the third, we got to figure something out. Takes a couple seconds to say that, and then maybe a couple minutes just to figure out what's going on. Maybe you probably could have saved a couple lives that day.
They said people were climbing on speakers. People were climbing on speakers to escape the wave of crashing into the wave of bodies crashing them. They're like, look, stop climbing speakers. You don't see that? Now I want to move on to the police. They're trying to cover their ass. They're trying to cover their spirit. These motherfuckers came up with a story talking, and when I heard it, I was like, oh damn. I didn't even think about it. I believed it. They're like, oh yo, the crowd riot, it was caused by one guy with a syringe stabbing people and them falling out, passing out, so people dying. That was because some guy had a syringe and he stabbed somebody, and he just dropped down from whatever drugs he injected to him. Now, when I first heard that, I was like, damn, this is some crazy shit. This is some like movie shit. Like, that's crazy. But then like paramedics and nurses who dealt with the people who are coming into the hospital, and even some of the experienced paramedics and nurses that were actually there. When they heard that, when the cops were making up some bullshit, or I'm getting ahead of myself, when they heard the story that the cops said about somebody injecting somebody with a syringe, they're like, they thought about it, they're like, yo, this is complete bullshit. That's a fucking lie. There's no drug on the planet Earth that if you inject it into active, if you inject that shit into muscle, that's not happening. You know what I'm saying?
Mm.
Even the best drugs, you have to inject that shit into somebody's vein. You know what I'm saying? And get it into the vein. So if I just run up to and stab you in the back with a fucking syringe, like I'm stabbing into muscle, it's still going to take a lot of time for that shit to go through your body and shit. So what is it that they're using? Fentanyl? Like what the fuck are they using to take people out like that? You know what I'm saying? The spin machine they be putting into a sinful effect. So that was like there's so many factors to this shit. It's making my head spin. Like fucking no security, cops making up shit, fucking paramedics not being trained, this dude not giving a shit about bodies piling up in front of him, people yelling at him, bro, this is what's going on. Him performing 30 minutes after, got Drake coming on stage performing, still people dying and shit. And people like, yo, what the fuck is going on? It's a crazy situation, man.
I'm about to say, it's such a tragedy, and like you said, a crazy situation that everybody doesn't want to take the blame for it.
Mm-hmm.
So everybody's going to do whatever they can to pass the blame on to the next person.
Yeah.
Because, like I said, 8 people died, and somebody's getting sued. If not everybody's getting sued. Yeah, if not everybody. So they don't want no parts of that, or they don't want the full weight or brunt of those lawsuits. So they're definitely going to be, like you said, doing damage control to try to minimize the amount of damage that they caused in this whole thing.
Mm-hmm.
So, I'm not surprised by that story with the whole syringe thing. It's just another department trying to do their own little bit of damage control. They failed miserably because, like, it doesn't make much sense, and especially having the doctors explain it away as well, just to tell everybody, yeah, that doesn't make any sense because it's not physically possible.
Thank God for that.
Yeah, because like when you think about it, it's just like, oh wait, yeah, because it'd be a lot faster for a drug to hit you if it goes directly into your bloodstream, into the heart, and then it just pumps everywhere. Like that shit works a hell of a lot faster than we think it does. So instead of it going into muscle, where it might just hit that one specific area, but not necessarily circulate throughout your whole body.
Yeah, it doesn't work that way. Like if you inject it, just it doesn't work. It doesn't work that way. There's veins, and then there's veins and arteries, right?
Mm-hmm.
Arteries take blood away from the heart. Veins take blood to the heart. You know what I'm saying? And if you stabbing me in the back or in the belly or in the side or in the ass or whatever with a syringe, chances are you're not hitting the vein. Chances are you're not hitting the artery. Chances are you don't know what the fuck, like, you don't know what the fuck is going on, and you don't know where the fuck to stab me or hit me or anything like that. You just, like, I'm just not gonna go down from that. You might make my fucking like butt swell or side swell when you stab me, but that's pretty much it. And I'm not gonna go down instantaneously where everybody's gonna notice, like, oh, you stabbed me, and then I'll just go. That's just not gonna happen. So, I have a question. So, all this going on, career-wise, what do you think Travis Scott's career is right now, and where do you think he's gonna go and end up? Do you see his career going?
Let's see. Before this incident, I want to say his career was is doing pretty good. I mean, like you, I don't mind some of his music. I'm not gonna say all of it's my favorite, but I do like some of his songs. I don't really know much about him per se, but I mean, if this incident is showing a lot about his character, it's saying a lot, especially from what I'm hearing about what not only went on at this concert but other concerts, and then just to see his reaction to see his live reaction to this through the accounts of people in video. He's really going to take a hit, honestly. I think. I don't know how big of a hit he might take. I mean, I haven't heard any calls for him to be canceled per se,
Oh,
but
they're out there. His shows got.
oh yeah,
He himself canceled his shows in California or something. He had a show in like California or some shit. He
right.
himself canceled it, but the way how shit is going, I don't think motherfuckers would even want to go to their show. And I seen another video of a club, like somewhere, I don't know where it was, but it was like a whole bunch of kids in the club and they started playing Travis Scott's music. They're like, boo, turn it off. And then the DJ had to go ahead and switch off Travis Scott's music. So his appeal is gone, at least with
Right.
these kids. So
Yeah, I'm about to say. So it's kind of so it'll probably be on the decline, if anything. So yeah, I mean, he was hitting the high, definitely. If not, he was at his peak. But this is really, he's gonna take a bit of a fall after this. I mean, there might be some people who are still gonna want to clout chase and go to his festivals and concerts and whatnot, but it's probably not gonna be to the same level like this was, where numbers was like astronomical. Like you said, if it was like 50,000, that's a shit ton of people. So
yeah.
I don't see it getting to that, especially not with younger fans. He might go back to the drawing boards and just redo his festivals, and they might have better things in place. Because I do want to say, from that information, it did sound like they were lackluster in everything that they planned for. Like they probably want the cheapest options that they could get to try to maximize the amount of money that they could keep. And excuse me, it kind of caused all this because you didn't have the necessary people to handle this much people. And that's not to take away from the folks that they did have there, but they probably would have been better served for a smaller event. So it wouldn't be so overwhelming to them. You need more experienced people for events of this magnitude, this size. So unless he does those type of things, I don't see him getting back up there. If he wants to be bullheaded, I mean, you said he canceled the shows, so maybe he's not gonna be too bullheaded. But that comes down to, was it him that
He
canceled?
himself, he's not trying to be, because he says he's gonna pay for the funeral expenses of the people that died,
Right.
and he gave out free refunds, or even free refunds. He gave out refunds, which he should do.
Hmm. Okay, so at least he's
And
not doubling
yeah,
down on this.
why would you double down? You have to be like all the way like mentally in that.
You'd be surprised, but luckily he's not that stupid. So it's good to hear that he's at least going to pay for all those funerals, because I mean, it happened at your concert. The least you could do. It seems like the heat is picking up on Drake though.
Okay.
It's gaining some steam. So I mean, even if he wasn't really there, it's just like they might, like you said, Travis Scott brought him back out as
Yeah,
a
you put
guest.
on. While all this shit
Yeah,
was going
so
on.
exactly. So some people are still gonna look at it as like, yo, you was there with him, so why didn't you stop him? Also, like, why weren't you listening? So
Are you tapping
it's
the door
very,
like, oh,
yeah, exactly. Like, yo, you see that out there? Like, what's going on? Like, so I mean, I can see why the heat is picking up on Drake. So, but like you said, it is mainly Travis Scott in the crosshairs right now. So that's why I said if Drake wants to take some heat off of himself, it'd be probably in his best interest to also help with those funeral arrangements.
final
Also,
thoughts on it?
final thoughts is, like I said before, it's a tragedy. It didn't really need to happen, and you don't wish for these things to happen. Uh, Maybe folks will learn to take a step back. I know, like you said in the beat, like to start it all off, it was in the house. There weren't no concerts or anything for all of last year. Quarantine, this and the third. So people are itching to get back out there. But even though we want to get back out there, we need to be safer. Just a little bit safer about what we're doing and not go a little overboard. When it comes to Travis Scott himself, he might bounce back from all this. I want to say he seems to be saying the right things and doing the right things, but I mean, I'm sure those families are still gonna want something. Like they lost loved ones. and
So losses to come.
yeah, exactly. So it's y'all still gonna come out of pocket. Like you could say you're gonna pay for all the funerals. That's great, but
They will.
this person's
Yeah, they gonna want more than that. They gonna want more than that.
yeah, they're gonna want way more than that. So it's like, but I can still see his musical career coming back. It's not like he personally killed these people, so
Yeah.
it's just like I said, a tragedy that happened at his concert. So like I said, my condolences to those who were killed, to the families of those who were killed, and a speedy recovery to those who were injured. And yeah, hopefully we move forward from this and learn some things and do better, come and have better things in place. Make sure your security team, your paramedics, and everybody is experienced enough to handle big crowds.
Yeah.
Because it might help avoid situations like this. I mean, no casualties is ideal, but even if you could keep it to like 1 or 2, is at least better than 8. But like I said, no casualties, absolutely ideal.
Yeah. No. Yeah, I think you pretty much said hit all the right points. Yo, we're still in a pandemic. The artists still happen during the pandemic. Granted, the laws are more relaxed and all that shit. Bro, we're still in a pandemic. So you got people dying like this during a pandemic, large crowds during a pandemic still. Now you got conspiracies out, swirling around, all this other shit happening, touching all them points. I think you covered everything that I was pretty much gonna say.
With that being said, from your host, DIV, Susana OMG, this has been Inside the Extended Pocket with the extendo on there. And yeah. Oh wait. Wait. I almost forgot. Just follow the socials though, just like, comment. Yeah, so share, subscribe if you're new, welcome. And make sure to follow us on Podbean as well, If you can't happen to catch the visuals, you can at least listen to our sultry voices on your way to work or something, or while you're at work. So yeah, Podbean at the Barely Broke Podcast. And with that being said, remember the socials as well. Same, Barely Broke Podcast on Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter. And with that being said, this has been Susana OMG, DIV, and we out here.